You ready? I want to thank you for allowing us to do this, because Chet, what's good about Chet is he teaches this to all the realtors, and he does it at Williamson County, Austin Board of Realtors, and probably some others. But I've seen him in class and everything else. But thank you for allowing us to do this.
Yeah.
It'll allow us to send this out to other people so they can use it. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Let's try to tip this. This particular type system is called an LPD, a low pressure dose. It's one step above the old gravity flow system, the simplest you have. The reason we have this is you notice that the drain field is higher than the septic tank.
Okay.
Since water runs downhill, we got to pump it up there, okay? And that's what's going on. Now, see this pipe right here?
Yes.
That's your inlet baffle,
Okay.
okay? It's nothing but a pipe T with a piece section of pipe in the bottom of it, okay? When somebody in the house does anything, every single drain pipe in that house drains through a single pipe, this one right here, comes into the tank. Now, of what comes down this pipe, it's 99.9% water. So the big deal on the septic is not the solids. It's how do you get rid of all this stinking water. And that's what your drain field's for.
Okay.
Now, solids do come down this pipe. When they hit the inlet baffle, 60% of them fall to the bottom immediately. Now, this is a 2-compartment tank. The opposite, or the outlet baffle, looks just like that, made out of a pipe T. It's in the wall right here, and I don't want to have to take that off, just accept the fact it's there. It's mounted in the wall 3 inches lower than the inlet baffle. Okay? Now, somebody flushes the toilet or turns on a shower, water comes down here, falls into the inlet baffle. The weight of the water falling on top of itself creates head pressure. That pushes the water. It can't go anywhere because this is all solid concrete. The only place it can go is up the outlet baffle pipe. Since it's 3 inches lower than this one, as soon as it hits that pipe, it's going to drain over into this pump tank.
Okay.
The solids that come in here, remember I said 60% fell to the bottom. That left 40% suspended in the water. If you leave it alone while you're sleeping or working or whatever, about 3/4 of those solids are going to settle out to the bottom, leaving only 25% of 40% of 1/10 of 1% to go over here into this pump tank. Okay? Now, we got a 500-gallon pump tank. That's 1,000 gallons. This is 500.
Okay.
Okay? Now, if you notice in there, there are 2 kind of ball-looking things. Those are floats. And we're going to play with them so I can show you how it works.
Okay.
It comes from right here. You notice that the plugs are piggyback. If we unplug this and separated this, plug this in direct, the pump will kick on. Pull the water out and burn your pump up.
Okay.
Now, one of the things you may want to do is put a bucket over this, because that's electricity. So put something over and try to keep it dry.
Okay.
Now, we kick the pump on, we know it works. But this second float here, this one right here, if we raise it, we're going to get some noise. And it seems like I remember this house, your alarm is in the garage, isn't it? Got 2 little chambers. When it gets up to about right here, that ball bearing will slip down through those chambers and close the contact, and the pump kicks on. And it'll keep pumping until that float goes down to about here. That ball bearing will move and the pump will kick off. Now, if for some reason it doesn't, the water just keeps on coming up, it'll hit that second float, the one we just raised. when it gets up here, that alarm will go on in your house.
Okay.
Okay? When that happens, you need to check to make sure you got power, that somebody didn't accidentally do something over here, and then call a repairman.
Okay.
Because you've got 2 days, maybe 3, and this is going to fill up. It's going to fill that up and back up to your house. Okay? So when the alarm goes off, now, is it ever going to go off? Yes. It's going to go off when this pump fails. Pumps usually last about 8 years. So it's not if it's going to, it's when it's going to. Okay? They're pretty reliable. It may last you 12 or 15, but normally, right here. This is called a Jandy valve. You see it right here? That's the same valve you use on swimming pools, okay? The reason they use them is because the old one, the old bull run valve, you used to have a key and put it on there and twist it. You ever see one of those things where people come out in their yard and twist it? Now, to move this, you have to loosen. See this little center one? You have to loosen that. And then these things only turn about 90 degrees. Well, this one went 180. Okay? Tighten it down. Next month, come out here and loosen it, put it right back where it was. Because you have 2 drain fields, and what you want is you want one of them being used while the other one's drying out. If it'll take 20 minutes of water running full out, that's as much as you're going to use in a day. You figure the normal person uses about 60 gallons. Now, if you got teenagers, there can be exceptions.
Yeah.
They like long baths. Okay? Properly. And now, here's the thing to remember. Remember I talked about the 40% suspended in the water? Remember that you can't make this system work better.
Okay.
There's not one thing you can do to make it work better. The state of Texas doesn't recognize anything as helping. So, no grease, okay? It'll stop things up before it even gets out here.
Right.
Just put it in the trash. No feminine products, because they ball up in there and cause problems. And no chemicals. Now you can do your laundry, you can clean your house, and you're not going to hurt it. Not even the bleach you put in your clothes is going to kill off all these germs. Unless you go nuts with it. You can go nuts with it. No paint thinners, no solvents if your husband cleans a car engine,
Okay.
and no Riddex. That changes the chemical composition in the water so that those particles that were settling out.
Riddex is, what is Riddex?
It's a substance that you can buy that's advertised to give you less solids in your tank. The problem with that is if we put too many, these fields out here are normally dug 24 to 30 inches deep. And when you say field, we don't really mean a field. We really mean a series of ditches.
Okay.
Normally dug 2 foot wide. I'd like to think 30 inches deep. They put 12 inches of gravel in the bottom of that ditch, laid the perforated pipe from here over the top of it, cover that pipe with gravel, cover the gravel with a cloth. They used to use hay, and then put the dirt on top. Okay? The water runs from here out into the drain field, spreads out in the gravel, and what happens is called envirotranspiration. What it means is that water will begin to percolate down through the soil, all the way to the aquifer below us, a couple hundred feet. By the time it gets there, it's pure. You can drink it and bathe and anything you want with it. It's pure, not because it got filtered through a couple hundred feet of dirt and rock. It's pure because of bacteria action in that soil there. We got good guys killing bad guys, okay? Now, what can happen is, if you put too many solids out there, it's like any war. If the bad guys get enough reinforcements, they're going to overwhelm the good guys. When that happens, it creates a bacteria mass in your drain field. Oh, I like to call it a bacteria blanket because it lines the sides and the bottom of the ditch with something that to me looks kind of like black jello. And the water can't penetrate it. If that happens, the drain field's gone and you can't bring it back. So we don't ever want to get there.
Right.
The other two things that happen is if you get enough water in those ditches, it will begin to wick its way to the surface so it can evaporate. As it gets near the surface, these plants here will drink it. Okay? The plants will purify the effluent also. So we want to do two things. We want to keep this mode so we can encourage evaporation. We don't want to let the plants die off in the hot summertime. So, you know, if you see them dying off, put a little water on them. Don't saturate your drain field, but don't let your grass and weeds die. Okay? And that's just about everything you can do.